Alright, we're gonna start a new game of Pentiment. And full disclosure, I've turned on
language.
that the voice assist because I know that there's a lot of dialogue in this game and no voice acting actually. So for my own sake, I'm turning on voice assist. We're gonna start this out. How much do I have to erase? The entire thing? Okay. Ooh. I already love the art style. Most of the people I know this about me, but I love anything historical. Period. So I was really excited when I heard about this, or when it was recommended to me. Heard a lot of great things about this story. I just know it's set in medieval times, and that there's a murder mystery, and that's basically it. And that you play an artist. Otherwise, I don't know too much else. I've been really good about not, looking up things about it, and not spoiling myself, so really excited. I know you can choose different things for your character too, like different attributes or qualities, almost like RPG which again is also very exciting. I also bought The Return of the Aubergine, I think it's called, which is also another period video game, but it reminded me a lot of The Terror on AMC, so I'm really excited to play that too. The Terror is one of my favorite shows.
Player says, and the abbot said to me, Andreas.
Oh god. I thought it was gonna keep doing
Option 3 of 3, keep your conversations with brother Pierre. Option 2 of 3, I need you to. Option 3 of 3, keep. Option 1 of 3, I don't want you distracting the sisters in the life. Option 2 of 3, I need you to finish this commission by the end of April. Option 3 of 3, keep your conversations with brother Pierrot to a minimum.
I guess we're kind of deciding what kind of
Option 1 of 3, I don't want you distracting the sisters in the library.
He has. This seems
Option
the most
2 of 3, I need you to finish this commission by the end of April.
Brother Pierre is.
Option 3 of 3. Option. Beatrice says, isn't that much earlier than you were expecting?
The robot voice is so funny.
Player says yes. He had told me I had until the Ides of May. Saint Grobian says asshole. And he's not going to pay you anymore, is he? He has no appreciation for the cost of your sweat.
Why is that dude a saint?
Socrates says the yield of labor should not be measured in coin, but in personal satisfaction and self-improvement. Saint Grobian says personal satisfaction doesn't put much food on the table though, does it? Hee
Hee.
Prester John says, how did you reply to the abbot, Andreas?
The music seems loud. I'm gonna check it in a second.
Option 1 of 3, I said I would do my best to get it done by the end of April. Option 2 of 3, I told him it would be done when it was done, sometime before the Ides of May. Option 3 of 3, I shrugged and kept on working.
Did this abbot hire him? So we should
Option 1 of 3, I said I would do my best to get it done by the end of
as much as
April.
possible, right?
Socrates says, with discipline and mindfulness, you will persevere.
You sound like my mom, Socrates.
Beatrice says if you don't kill yourself striving to meet the abbot's unreasonable expectations. Saint Grobian says what she said. What's the point in burning your candle to the nub for the idiot abbot's sake?
Is he not paying us?
Prester John
Because
says
then, if
despite
so,
the
I
abbot's
agree.
ire, you must endure. Soon you will have finished both the abbot's work as well as your masterpiece. And then you will return to Nuremberg, where marriage, and your new life as a master await you.
Marriage. That doesn't sound that fun. Well, I don't know. Oh my god. Look at that face. Why does it look like that? Why is it so long? Free Imperial City of the Holy Roman Empire, major trade center, and city of arts, including printing. Oh.
Beatrice says yes. Marriage to someone he has never
See?
met.
That does not
ideal.
sound fun.
Socrates says well, the alternative is becoming a philosopher.
That doesn't sound that bad either. You just talk all day, and people just sit around and listen to you, and then you still, like, are remembered hundreds of years from now. Is that the Socrates?
Saint Grobian says oh, Jesus, then you should definitely get married. Is she pretty, at least? Option 3 of 3,
Oh
option 1 of 3, that's what my brother said in his letter, but maybe he's just trying to lift my spirits. Option 2 of 3, the small portrait they sent was lovely, but we artists can be flatterers. Option 3 of 3, oh, who knows? That's not why I'm doing it, anyway.
Well, I want to know why he's doing it, but it's probably because of, like, not political reasons, but for, like, mutually beneficial reasons. And yeah, that's not the important thing.
Prester John says it is growing late. The wheel of time stops for no man, Andreas. I fear you must leave us. Player says ah, true, your majesty. Prester John says will you visit us again soon? Option 1 of 3 hopefully, but it's out of my control, your majesty. Option 2 of 3 I don't know, your majesty. Option 3 of 3 well, I can't always dream of this place, your majesty.
I have a feeling, due to the events of the game, it'll be a while since we're back someplace so comfortable. So we'll see.
Option 1, Prester John says as are many things. Trust in Providence, Grobian. Please see Andreas safely home. Saint Grobian says of course, your majesty. Prester John says until next time. Player says until next time, your majesty. Saint Grobian says pay no mind to the other fools, Andreas. Player says I never do.
I have so many questions.
Ow.
Like, ow.
At least I would if they'd stop stepping on my feet.
Like, why is there only, like, a sea vessel just, like, completely stuck to the brim with jesters who can't stop stepping on his feet?
Watch where you are going. Saint Grobian says hee hee. They're fools, Andreas. No point in trying to teach them anything.
That guy's just pummeling the other guy. I guess it's like kind of the equivalent of being stuck on an airplane with like a crying baby next to you, but this is a bit excessive, I think. I think I would take the crying baby.
I know old John wants you to endure the abbot's shit, but since I take you home, I get the last word. Don't let him run you rag, boy. Option 1 of 3 I won't. The abbot can't push me around. Option 2 of 3 he's just Option 1 of 3 Option 2 of 3 he's just trying to keep order in the abbey. I'm an outsider. Option 3 of 3 it will be fine. I don't want to cause any trouble.
Oh, thanks for the raid. Hello. Hi, Basil.
Option 1 of 3 I won't. The abbot can't push me around.
This sounds like it has more
he's just
insight
trying
into
to keep order in the abbey.
the abbot's character.
I'm an Saint Grobian says right, an outsider he brought in. If he wants your work, he has to deal with you as you are.
feel like this guy is a bad influence. It might be the fact
Player
that,
says goth.
that he's a jester. And also kind of looks like the devil. I'm good, how are you doing? I had a pretty relaxing day. I'm really excited to play this game.
Would you please ST?
Would you please ST? And that guy sticking his tongue out of the boat.
Take me home, Grobian. Saint Grobian says hee. As you wish, Andreas. Player says good morning, Ursula.
She's so cute. Is that her daughter? Or sister?
Ursula says guuam. And doom.
The voice is killing me.
Player says time to get up.
The art style is really cool. The Baron.
Click Journal tab to access quests. Journal.
Another day, another few pages for the abbot, and hopefully a few for myself. I need to get across town and head up to the abbey so I can start work at the scriptorium. Okay.
Player says I really should clean this up. The Picatrix, Key of Solomon, the Heptameron. Prior Ferenc keeps giving me all of these books to read. The
Free books.
Picatrix, Key of Solomon, the
I forgot to
Heptameron.
click on it. Hurry up.
Prior Ferenc keeps giving me all of these books to read.
Okay, it shows you what the guy looks like. Oh.
Go to bed.
No.
Go to bed. Gertner house. Gertner guest room, Ursula. Ursula says Andreer. PPPBBT.
Oh my god. The voice is so helpful, but it's like those things are so funny. Can you imagine if the TikTok voice narrated the game like that? I don't even want to annotate it. I feel like I'd do too bad a job.
Clara says good morning, Andreas. Did you sleep well? Option 1 of 3, quite well actually. Thank you. Option 2 of 3 ordinary, as far as sleeping goes. Option 3 of 3, not well but there's nothing to be done about it now. Clara says oh, I'm so glad to hear it. Anyway, I know you'll be off to the Abbey, so I packed you some food.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Almonds, cheese, and some of the rye you like from the Albans.
That sounds so good. She packed him a cheese board.
Otto wanted me to ask you to join him for dinner at the Abbey.
Oh, I forgot to click on it.
Eva says Otto stopped by.
Fingers too fast. It looks like Flynn Rider from Tangled, but added 10 years and more hair.
Clara says yes, around dawn. Here you are, Andreas. Option 2 of 2 not. Option 1 of 2 that's too kind of you, Clara. Many thanks. Clara says Master Andreas, if it wouldn't be too much trouble could I mean, could we?
Oh?
Would it be too much trouble if you paid next month's rent today? And if we raised it by 2 groschen? I hate to ask, but we're behind on our taxes to the Abbey. 2 months behind.
Oh no. That's odd, I don't remember. Cause isn't the Abbey like a religious, structure, settlement? I guess like why would they owe them taxes?
Peter's losing his hair over.
Like isn't there someone like a mayor
even
or
more
something?
than usual, I mean.
Or a lord? Oh.
Option
Poor Peter.
Option 1 of 4, of course. It's no problem at all. Besides, we wouldn't want Peter to lose any more of his precious hair. Option 2 of 4 at ER. I suppose that's not out of the question. Yes, I think I can manage that. Option 3 of 4 I can't promise anything. I'll see what I can do. Option 4 of 4 well, wait, were these taxes unexpected?
Don't be a dick. That is rude. Like, it looks like a pretty big house, barn deal, but like they clearly are not like nobility or like upper class. Like they're not.
Player says
Unless
I'm not
you're
sure how
like
to respond
nobility
to
or
this.
royalty, life wasn't
Rent
easy
wasn't
back
due
then.
until the beginning of May.
Rent wasn't due until the beginning of May.
Option 1 of 3 be generous, Andreas. You can spare the money and it will ease their burden. Option 2 of 3 you must take the consequences of inaction into account. Option 3 of 3 what is this shit? Don't they pay taxes every year? Why is this falling on you to fix?
This guy needs to cool it down a little bit. They're obviously struggling.
Option 1 of 3 be generous, Andreas.
If we can spare the money, why
and
not?
it will ease their burden. Player says on the other hand, she might think she can keep asking me for advances on rent. Option 1 of 4, of course. It's no problem at all. Besides, Clara says oh, God bless you, Andreas. And may Saint Luke watch over you today.
Christian evangelist and patron saint of artists and physicians, often represented by a winged bull.
Speaking of Saint Luke, how is your masterpiece coming along? It's been 2 months now, hasn't? Player says slowly, I'm afraid. Most of my days are spent doing work for the Abbey. It's only during the Divine Office that Prior Ferenc allows me to work on my masterpiece.
The prayer time observed by all Christian monastic orders, monks and nuns pray together 7 times a day. 7 times? And once at night, as dictated by the rule of Saint Benedict. Well, that's a lot of praying.
A reasonable restriction, but slow going.
Is it though? 7 times a day. That adds up.
The city council doesn't require it to become a master. I'm making it mostly to show clients, and for my own sake. And yes, when I do finish, I will go back to Nuremberg, where I will marry and open a workshop of my own. Clara says from Nuremberg to a university and now traveling the world as an artist. What a life you have ahead of you, Master Andreas. Player says yes, I suppose it does feel like I'm starting a new chapter in my life after. Option 3 of 3, Option 1 of 3, a few missteps. Option 2 of 3, some wandering. Option 3 of 3, a little too much fun. Option 2 of 3, some wandering.
That sounds interesting.
Clara says
like
it
a
must
nomad.
be rather frightening. Starting all over again. Option 1 of 2 I owe it to my family to make something of my life. Option 2 of 2 it is, but I know now that this is what I want to do.
Yeah. You know what you want to do. Let's do that one.
Player says not many people get to decide that. Clara says certainly not anyone in Tassing. Anyway, I don't know anything about art, but I've seen you sketching such beautiful things in your little book. Your masterpiece must be wonderful. Option 1 of 3 it is. It's my finest work. Option 2 of 3 it's getting there. Option 3 of 3 well, it's hard to say until it's done.
Yeah, let's be humble.
Clara says that's no way to think about it. I'm sure it will be a treasure when it's finished.
Oh, Claire.
Now, I have to get back to my own work. Have a good day at the Abbey, Andreas, and we'll see you after Vespers for supper.
Monastic hour at dusk. One of the major prayer hours. It is followed by supper. Okay. I love these drawings. Oh my god. Oh, look at the cats. It's so cute.
Player says not tonight, but thank you. Klaus Drucker invited me over for supper.
Didn't someone else invite us over for dinner? Otto? We're so popular. Could not be me.
Clara says of course. Please say hello to the Druckers for us. Player says of course. Until later, Clara. Gertner Farm.
Who is
Eva.
this?
Clara.
Oh.
Gertner Farm. Gertner Hout, Peter. Ill Peter. Ill Peter says God bless you. Ah. Player says. Andreas. Ill Peter says ah. Oh. Yes, Andreas. This weather's been god awful. This town's gone to shit since my days.
Okay, but more. I'm sure it's not as bad as you're saying. Not to gaslight you.
Option 1 of 2 I don't think the townsfolk can do much about the weather. Option 2 of 2 were things very different when you were young?
Yeah, were they actually
Ill
different?
Peter says as different as beer and piss.
Very vivid. Thank you, Peter.
The old abbot didn't bother us much about our customs.
What customs?
He didn't mind if we left a little offering to Perchta to keep the skies clear, the weather fair.
Ooh. Pagan goddess of the Alps, associated with animals and spinning wool. She is still invoked by some Christians in Austria, Switzerland, Bavaria, and Swabia. It's fucking cool. So, is it a little bit of old religion versus new? Is that a theme I'm getting at here? That would be amazing. Love the original Wicker Man.
Matthias knew that Christ was in our hearts even if the White Lady's name was on our lips.
The White Lady.
Option 1 of 4 the church banned all observances of pagan gods, Ill Peter. Option 2 of 4 what sort of old customs? Option 3 of 4 I thought St. Moritz protected Tassing. Option 4 of 4 you think that spirits have been fouling the weather since no one follows the customs anymore? Option 3 of 4 Option 4 of 4 you think that spirits have Ill Peter says had. Sharper than you look, eh? The saints weren't the first to watch over Tassing. My father knew that. Old Rannig Kemper knew that.
Rannig Kemper, the late husband of Attilia.
That bastard abbot may not like it, but some of us keep the traditions alive.
Do you know what movie I saw recently that had a kind of a similar theme going on? It's called The Final Prayer. Or I think it's also called The Borderlands, depending on what region you're in. It's really good. I'm still thinking about the ending. But, not to spoil anything, but this reminds me of it.
Option 1 of 3 like the old widow, Autolia.
Autolia.
Option 2 of 3 I won't mention that at the Abbey. Option 3 of 3 what do these traditions entail? Ill Peter says when you get up in the night to take a piss, go around the right side of the house, and never go back the same way.
Why, what happens?
That way the witches don't steal your soul.
Oh god.
Option 1 of 2 How interesting. Option 2 of 2 I should go.
I love how
Option 1 of 2 How interesting.
I love how the voice captured that ellipses. Oh, how interesting.
Ill Peter says cough cough.
Cough cough.
Player says I should go. Ill Peter says All right. God bless you.
It doesn't look like we can go this way. Yeah.
Ill Peter, Peter. Peter says Andreas. Gertner House.
Who are you? How do I talk to you? Okay.
Big Yerg says morning, Andreas. Player says morning, Big Yerg. How's it going? You working today? Big Yerg says just taking a rest for a bit. Dad's still in the field. He hit a big rock with the plow and it took me Lord knows how long to pull it out.
To pull a plow out of a rock?
You off to the Abbey?
No wonder you're called Big. You're so strong. To get something, anything out of a rock. That's crazy.
Option 1 of 2 every day but Sunday. Option 2 of 2 where else would I be going?
Don't be rude.
Big Yerk says right. Thank God for Sundays. Smells like a storm's coming, no? Player says hey. Just smells like fresh alpine air to me. Big Yerk says you've been traveling too much. Where was it you spent your wander jar before you came to Tassing? Option 1 of 3 Basel Andreas knows some Italian and French and can reference cultural touchstones from Basel and nearby Bern, Zurich, and Freiburg. Option 2 of 3 Flanders Andreas knows some Dutch and French and can reference cultural touchstones from Antwerp, Bruges, and Ghent. Option 3 of 3 Italy Andreas knows Italian, a little Greek, and can reference cultural touchstones from Florence, Venice, and Milan. Option 2 of 3 Flanders Andreas knows some Dutch and French and can reference cultural touchstones from Antwerp, Bruges, and Ghent.
I think I'm gonna go with Flanders because one of my really good friends lives in Brussels and I'm supposed to visit them in a few months. And we're supposed to go to Bruges and Ghent. So, this is for you, Jude. I'm picking Flanders.
Option 2 of 3 Flanders Andreas. Player says Antwerp, Bruges, and Ghent. All the great art cities of Flanders. Big Yerk says where's that? Player says north and west, down by the sea. Big Yerk says there's your problem. The sea air has confused your sense of smell. Spend enough time in these mountains and you'll be able to smell a storm coming. Player says how long will that take? Big Yerk says 10, 15 years? Player says I don't think I have that long. Big Yerk.
Yeah. That's a long time to invest for very little payoff.
Big Yerk says what did you spend all that time in Flanders doing? Other than art, I mean. Option 1 of 5 Hedonist Andreas seeks out pleasure wherever he goes. He is extremely social and quite experienced in all of the enjoyable vices of the world. Option 2 of 5 Craftsman Andreas lives to work and dedicates all of his time to his art. Option 3 of 5 Bookworm Andreas spends all of his non-working free time finding and reading as many books as he possibly can. Option 4 of 5 Rapscallion Andreas has a penchant for getting involved in petty schemes, pranks, minor crimes, and fistfights.
That sounds fun.
Option 5 of 5 Businessman Andreas devotes much of his time to self-promotion, optimizing business expenses, making investments, and balancing his books.
Oh my god. Does that mean Andreas is propagating the hustler movement, the grind culture? Is he a crypto bro? Or whatever? Freshen? What is the currency they said earlier? He's a freshen bro.
Option 1 of 5 Option 2 of 5 Craftsman Andreas lives to work and dedicates all of his time to his art.
Yeah, let's do that. Because he's a master for a reason.
Player says other than art? Nothing. That's what I was there for. Art is the whole point, Big Yerk. The craft. I don't have time for anything else. Big Yerk says oh. Sorry I asked.
Oh no. Yeah, he was a little bit pretentious just then. Art is the reason for everything.
Anyway, I have to get going.
That ended the conversation. Okay.
Peter says Yerk. Big Yerk says Dad's already acting like I'm taking too long even though I did all the work to get that rock out. See you later.
He got
Andreas.
the rock out of the field or whatever.
Player says until later.
Look at that chicken.
Big Yerk. Town Commons.
This is really cool.
Andreas. Andreas says hello. Andreas. Bergner Farm.
Oh, it's not reading it? Andreas Smith's smithy. It's so much smaller than the one he uses at the Abbey.
Andreas. Bergner Farm.
What was that?
Veronica says Martin, please. Can you give me a hand here? Martin says, what do you want? I'm keeping an eye on them. Veronica says, that looks a lot like standing there and doing nothing. Hetty says, Martin, for Christ's sake, help your cousin. Veronica says, ah, morning Andreas. Excuse us. One of the fence rails fell and the sheep started hopping it. Option 1 of 3, is there something I can do to help? Option 2 of 3, no. Excuse me. I'll try to stay out of your way. Option 3 of 3, Martin, idiot, you going to help them?
Dude, everyone is piling up on Martin. Probably rightfully so. He should be helping them. What's he even doing? I mean, they all look like they're standing around looking at something, but...
Player says, should I offer to help? Option 1 of 2, perhaps. Helping others also helps us. It allows us to feel useful and take satisfaction in our work. Option 2 of 2, that idiot Martin should be helping them. Yell at him, give him a good scare. Hee.
I'm not listening to this guy. Why is he a saint? He just seems like an asshole, like the devil on your shoulder, literally. So,
option 1 of 2,
I'll be listening to my guy Socrates. He's famous
helps
for a
us.
reason.
It allows
And no
us
one's
to
ever
feel
heard of
useful
Saint
and take
Grobian.
satisfaction in our work. Player says, then again, I don't know anything about sheep and I'd probably just get in their way.
That's true, but then you can just offer and they can say no.
Option 1 of 3, is there something I can do to... Veronica says, have you ever handled sheep before? Option 1 of 2, well, no. Veronica says, then no, but thank you. Christian of you to offer.
Heck yes I am. Or heck yes it is.
Hetty says, oh, look, there's something going on up at the Steinauer's place. Martin says, who's that on the horse? Looks rich. Hetty says, I don't know, Martin, but Lucky is giving him an earful. Christ, I haven't seen Lucky that worked up since Peter and Clara's wedding when Johann pulled his pants down.
Oh yeah, Clara was the first person we talked to, I think, in the house. Okay, I don't think we've seen him yet. The 3 fucking super long fingers is really unnerving. But I do like the toad with the hat.
Knock 2 of my man's teeth out. You don't want to feel the strength behind a stonemason's anger.
No, I don't think so.
Martin says, do you think he's a noble? He looks really rich. Hetty says, God damn it, Martin. Stay out of trouble for once. Martin says, what, Aunt Hetty? Veronica says, behave yourself. Don't we have enough to deal with right now? Hetty says, Andreas, if you wouldn't mind moving your skinny little body up the road, we need to get these sheep under control.
Okay, I can do that, but you don't have to mention my body. That was weird. Especially, no, she's not our aunt, but still.
Player says,
Would that make it less weird or more weird if she was?
Option 1 of 3, don't work too hard.
Oh my god.
Option 2 of 3, good luck. Option 3 of 3, help your aunt and your cousin. Alright?
Yeah. Well, I don't want to be, like, patronizing. But, I mean, that's polite.
Martin says, eat shit. Andreas.
Eat shit, Andreas. Martin, you're kind of a dick. I would kind of see how everyone, or why everyone's kind of
Veronica.
not
Hetty. Veronica.
pleased with you.
Hetty. Veronica. Hetty. Veronica. Hetty. Veronica. Church and Druckers. Drucker House, Town Commons, Klaus. Klaus says, morning, Andreas. How's it going?
Excuse me? Why did it look like that?
Player says
Okay.
morning. Floss. Another day at the Abbey. Another few hours to work on my masterpiece.
I thought for a second he was like speaking in like tongues or something.
Floss says good to hear. You still coming by for supper tonight? Marie and Bert would love to see you.
Oh, he's so cute. What is that radish? Oh my god, what is that diamond? That double diamond. Oh, that's trippy. I love it.
You really need to see these new woodcuts I have for an Italian edition of Till Eulen Spiegel.
Isn't it? I think it's Till Eulen Spiegel. The titular character of a popular 15th century book, Till is a prankster continually exposing the vices and hypocrisy of others. He is also quite skilled at tricking people into smelling, touching, or eating his excrement. I mean, he sounded good or cool like before that last sentence. He's just a poop guy now.
Player says I didn't realize Father Thomas let you print books in Italian. Floss says come on, Andreas. He's not that strict. I know he's just trying to protect people from option 1 of 4 heresy, option 2 of 4 witch mania, option 3 of 4 adventure stories of questionable moral repute, option 4 of 4 your sloppy typesetting. Option 1 of 4 heresy.
I don't know how it would. That would be something that would contribute to witch mania. Wait.
Option 3 of 4 adventure stories of questionable moral repute. Floss says he doesn't mind those so much. Actually, player says no. Floss says as long as they don't get too carnal. Player says ooh.
Ooh. As long as they're not too sexy.
Floss says so. Supper tonight, after Vespers, option 1 of 2, of course. Thank you.
Yeah, that's so nice. And free food.
Floss says great.
You don't say no to free food.
I'll tell Marie and Bert your player says see you later. Floss. Thomas. Thomas says God bless, Master Mailer. I hope your week is going well. Option 1 of 2 thank you, Father. It's going quite well. I'm just on my way up the hill to get to work. Option 2 of 2 thank you, Father, but I'm running late to the Abbey. Option Thomas says good. Andreas, I don't recall seeing you at Sunday morning Mass. You understand how important it is for your salvation that you receive Holy Communion, don't? Option 1 of 3 yes. I apologize, Father Thomas. I promise you I'll make it this Sunday. Option 2 of 3 I do, but I've been working on sketches late at night A&D.
A&D? And?
Option 3 of 3 Sigh.
Sorry.
Player says I just stayed up too late on Saturday. I don't want to get into an argument with him about this.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to.
Option 3 of 3 this asshole can't make you go to Mass. To hell with him.
Yeah, you kind of sound
Option 2 of 3
like the
a
devil,
man
dude.
has many duties. Father Thomas should appreciate how hard you work to help the Abbey. Option 1 of 3 would going to church on Sunday be such a burden? If not for his sake, consider it for your own.
I
Option
agree
2
with
of 3
Socrates.
a man has many duties. Father Thomas should appreciate how hard you work to help the Abbey.
I mean, it is. I agree with like, you know, like trying to go like maybe once or twice as a show of appreciation if you're being paid by Father Thomas, but you know, it's if he's not religious, if Andreas is not religious, then and he's already so busy, then I don't think you should be guilted about that.
Player says almost everyone in town works hard, though.
Okay, so, but, I mean, are you religious?
Option 2 of 3 I do, but I've been working on sketches late at night and Option 1 of 3 yes. I apologize, Father Thomas. I promise you I'll make it this Sunday.
Yeah, let's not make excuses.
Thomas says you don't have to make a promise to me, but our salvation is contingent on TH.
On TH. Or THC.
Oh, my. What a blessed day to receive such an illustrious visitor. Master Mailer, this is Lorenz, Baron of Rothvogel, a great lord from the countryside near Worms.
Worms? Prosperous imperial free city in the western part of the empire. Located on the Rhine River, Worms has been the site of many imperial diets. What is an imperial diet? I'm guessing it's not... I'm guessing it's like a verb, or something tangible, not like an actual diet. And also it sounds cool. I chill in Worms.
Lorenz says good to see you, Father Thomas. It is nice to be remembered fondly. I only wish all of your neighbors were as welcoming. Thomas says well, yes. What brings you back to our little town? Lorenz says my wife and I were returning from a trip to Venice. We spent a few days in Innsbruck and it was terribly dull.
Venice, one of the most powerful republics on the Italian peninsula, sitting on the northwest coast of the Adriatic Sea. Venice is a major center for commerce and art in southern Europe. Innsbruck is the capital of the Austrian county of Tyrol and major stop on the Imperial Road connecting Italy and Bavaria. It is the closest major city to Kearsarge Abbey and Tassing. Notably, it was also the site of witch trials in 1485.
I mean, it has a certain charm common to these alpine cities, but the place was crawling with nobles for the emperor's diet.
Okay, diet. An imperial diet is an assembly of the three colleges of the imperial estates of the Holy Roman Empire. The prince-electors, the princes and dukes, and the representatives of the imperial cities. They meet to deliberate on matters of importance to the empire. I'm so glad we did voice assist. Can you imagine? I mean, that's the only thing I would remark on. Like, I really wish that they had voice acting in this. I feel like it would just, like, make it come alive even more. Especially with, like, historical settings. I feel like, voice acting would be really, really good. And help you get even more immersed.
Was he there? Did you see him? Lorenz says oh, briefly, but he was sitting for a portrait at the time. Quite lovely. I didn't want to bother him or the painter.
Wait, is he saying quite lovely about the portrait or about him?
Option 1 of 3 who was the artist, my lord? Option 2 of 3 why was the diet assembled, my lord? Option 3 of 3 say nothing. Option 1 of 3 Lorenz says I'm sure you know him. An older man from Nuremberg with enough of a reputation to paint the emperor. Option 1 of 2 Albrecht Dürer. Well known across the empire, and a legend in our mutual hometown. Option 2 of 2 I'm sorry, my lord. I'm not sure who you mean. Option 1 of 2 Albrecht Dürer. Well known across the empire, and a legend in our mutual hometown.
Albert Dürer is a renowned painter and printmaker from Nuremberg. He is revered in Venice as well as across the Holy Roman Empire. Since 1512, he has enjoyed the patronage of Emperor Maximilian I. Look, our choice paid off.
Lorenz says you are also from Nuremberg? Interesting. Anyway, my wife wanted to stay a bit longer in Innsbruck and I decided to ride ahead to make a visit to Kearsarge. I heard Father Matthias died shortly after my last visit, of course.
Abbot of Kearsarge before Father Gernot, widely respected by the monks and nuns as well as the people of Tassing. Oh my god. Known for his kindness and his love of books. Oh, he sounds nice. That's how I want to be remembered. My kindness and my love of books.
Thomas says a great loss for the Abbey and for us all. Lorenz says indeed. By good fortune, I recently came across a copy of the Historia Tasha he was reading during my last visit.
What is that? An account of the early history of Ptacek. Kearsaw's previous abbot, Father Matthias, had a copy. Baron Rothwell brought another to the abbey as a visit.
Father Matthias was hoping to find a second copy to corroborate the contents of the first. It contains some fascinating details about the history of this place. I'm afraid they might even cause a bit of a scandal.
Heh.
Thomas says off, yes.
This is so funny.
Lawrence says but I must be off. There will be time enough to discuss Tassing's past later. I commissioned a manuscript from the Abbey through Father Gernot and I have come to check on its progress. Thomas says oh. My lord, if you have come to see your manuscript, you should speak with young Master Mailer here. Option 2 of 2 it is an honor. Option 1 of 2 not quite a true master yet. I still have to marry and be approved by our city council. Option 2 of 2 it is an honor to meet you, my lord. Option 1 of 2 not quite a true master yet. I still have to marry and be approved. Thomas says Andreas is a journeyman artist from Nuremberg. For the next few months, he's also helping in the Abbey's scriptorium.
Ooh, scriptorium is so cool sounding. A room for writing, illustrating, and illuminating manuscripts. Though typically associated with monasteries, they have disappeared from almost all abbeys by the 16th century. No, that sounds really cool. I wonder if there are any, like, preserved, or, yeah, preserved, is that the right word? Abbeys, where they kind of have, like, the scriptorium still, that you can see. Like in, like, a ruin, or, like an abandoned abbey or something.
Lawrence says a Nuremberger artist working in an abbey scriptorium. In 1518? Oh, we should talk, Andreas. I must know the story.
Like the phrasing, he sounds so like scandalized, but like reading it, I'm like, yes, is it odd? Oh, okay.
Option 1 of 3, of course my lord. It would be an honor. Option 2 of 3 well, I'm already late to the abbey but I suppose it's all right. Option 3 of 3 surely my lord would find little entertainment or companionship in me.
We can be a little self-deprecating. I kind of want to see what the reaction would be to this.
Lawrence says I have yet to judge the quality of your entertainment.
Oh
though
no!
It sounds like we're off to a bad start.
Jeez. Trying to be humble?
Thank you for the introduction, Father Thomas. Come to supper at the Abbey tonight. I'm inviting you to the Abbot's table.
Wow.
Thomas says Did the Abbot invite me?
Oh. Say yes.
Lawrence says oh, don't worry about it, Father. Just show up after Vespers. What is he going to do? Refuse us? Thomas says I. Lawrence says excellent. We will see you then. My claws, I'm dismounting. Run ahead of us and take the horses to the Abbey's guest house. I'd like to take my time talking with Master Mailer. I'll meet you there, my claw says at once, my lord. Lawrence says so then, a journeyman from Nuremberg.
Oh my god, is that just a tribute to feet? It's like medieval feet wiki.
Forgive me for saying so, but you seem a little old to not yet be a master. Are you unmarried?
Why do you want to know?
Player says no, I'm not married, but in truth I came to my vocation later than my father and brothers. I was in university for a number of years, at Erfurt. Lawrence says Erfurt.
Forgot to click on it.
Wonderful. The same university as Martin Luther. Have you read his works? Tremendous mind.
Erfurt is one of the most populous cities in the empire and is located near its heart. It has been home to a respected university since 1379 and is a center for humanist thought. Martin Luther, priest and professor of theology at the University of Wittenberg, controversial for his opinions on the church's sale of indulgences to forgive sin. which were recently published and distributed throughout the empire. Sounds like a cool guy. I remember reading about him and learning about him.
He says things about the church that should have been said years ago. Might get him into trouble, but he's a brave, brilliant man.
I like that he likes Martin Luther.
Wait, you may have even met him. Did you? You must tell me. Player says no. He was a few years ahead of me. Option 1 of 2 still. His ideas do seem fascinating. Option 2 of 2 his ideas don't hold much interest for me, I'm afraid. Option 1 of 2 still. Lawrence says I agree, wholeheartedly. I simply must meet him if I get the chance. I wonder if the good brothers of the Abbey have heard of him. Perhaps they have even read his list of 95 theses against the church.
A list of propositions against the church's practice of selling indulgences for the remission of sin. It was written in 1517 by Martin Luther.
Father Matthias was not above having a lively debate. I hope Father Gernot does not disappoint in that regard. But enough about Luther for now.
I was
Tell
trying to
me about your university studies. Option 1 of 2 forgive me, Baron, but did you attend university? You seem very well educated. Lawrence says
Oh, I was
no.
trying to hover
My
over the second
family is
option.
merely wealthy enough to have provided me with all of the books and tutors a child could dream of. I love all knowledge, from Aristotle and Cicero to Ficino and Erasmus, and everyone in between and yet to come.
Cicero, statesman, scholar, lawyer, and renowned orator of the late Roman Republic. He is revered both for his contributions to Latin literature and his skill at rhetoric. Marsilio Ficino, how did you say it? Was a 15th century Italian priest and humanist who was one of the leading figures of the Italian Renaissance. He is well known for his translations of the works of Plato into Latin. Erasmus of Rotterdam, a Dutch priest and philosopher who is preeminent among northern humanists. He is known for his works in Latin and Greek, as well as his calls for reform within the church. Aristotle, Greek philosopher and student of Plato, renowned as a polymath, he wrote on a wide variety of subjects. His work is extensively cited by current scholars, and even more work is attributed to him than he could have ever written.
Player says I may have misjudged the Baron. It seems he is as well read as any university student.
I thought he was saying this out loud. And I'm like, oh my god, you can't say that out loud.
Lawrence says in truth, I am simply happy to speak with another well-educated man. Now then, did you earn your doctorate? Player says I know, I didn't. Only a master's degree. I started working toward a doctorate, but didn't finish.
They had like masters and doctorates back then?
Lawrence says oh, that's a shame. Well, what was your area of study? Option 1 of 3 Theology. Andreas has a strong understanding of Catholic theology, biblical knowledge, canon law, heresies, and similar subjects. Option 2 of 3 Imperial law. Andreas knows the basics of the fractured systems of laws that govern the various states of the Holy Roman Empire. Option 3 of 3 Medicine. Andreas is familiar with the basics of human biology, medicine, and illness.
Sounds like it might be more useful. I know the setting is an abbey, supposedly, at least for now, but especially if it's a murder mystery, maybe this could be useful. With like getting evidence
says all
and
things
such.
medical, studying the latest and greatest texts coming out of Italy. Lawrence says yes. The Italians continue to innovate in that area. Extraordinary, really fascinating work. Who knows what secrets we may learn about the human body in the decades to come. Autolius says you. If I had any faith I would have prayed you'd never show your face here again. Curse you, Lorenz Rothvogel. Perched as dogs tearing you to pieces would be too kind of fate.
Why is she so mad? What'd he do?
Lawrence says these rustic communities display a shocking lack of hospitality, don't you think?
Depending on what you did. I doubt that she did that randomly.
Option 2 of Option 1 of 2. What was that about? Lawrence says who knows? By the time I finish guessing, the old crone will probably be dead.
I think there's something you're not telling us.
Well, what of your early time in university? Every student must study the trivium and quadrivium, yes?
Sure. The trivium and quadrivium represent the lower and upper divisions of a classic liberal arts university education. Latin grammar, logic, and rhetoric form the trivium. Arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy form the quadrivium. So it's pretty well rounded. Not bad.
Did you have a favorite subject? Option 1 of 5. Latinist Andreas has a strong command of Latin grammar and vocabulary. He can also easily recall sententiae antiqui, quoted words of wisdom from the Roman Republic and Empire. Option 2 of 5. Logician Andreas instinctively thinks through the implications of information as he receives it, is adept at spatial analysis, and can easily perform complicated calculations in his head.
Not relatable.
Option 3 of 5. Orator Andreas excelled at rhetoric in university. He is a skilled teacher, persuader, and public speaker.
Not relatable either, but that sounds useful as well. Especially since this is not like a... Well, that or logician so far sound the most useful.
Option 4 of 5. Occultist Andreas knows a soul-endangering amount of theoretical and practical knowledge on alchemy, astrology, theurgy, necromancy, and various magical rites and ceremonies.
You spelled knowledge wrong. And I always pronounced it as knowledge. Oh man, that sounds the most interesting.
Option 5 of 5. Heavens and Earth Andreas knows a great deal about the constellations, heavenly bodies, and their movement. He is also familiar with various plants and animals from study and personal experience. Option 4 of 5. Occultist Andreas knows a soul-endangering amount of theoretical and practical knowledge on alchemy, astrology, theurgy. Option 3 of 5. Orator Andreas excelled at rhetoric in university. Player says the art of persuasion, naturally. Rhetoric. Lawrence says I assume you studied the Greeks and Romans both. Player says yes, Aristotle and Cicero, of course, but also Christian thinkers like Augustine and Thomas Aquinas.
St. Augustine of Hippo was an early Christian philosopher, theologian, and bishop of Hippo Regius. He is recognized as a doctor of the church and is most known for his works The City of God and his autobiographic confessions, as well as his development of the doctrine of original sin. Cicero, wait, no, I think I read that. Thomas Aquinas, an immensely influential philosopher, theologian, and jurist in the tradition of scholasticism. Oh my god, this is absolutely brutal.
Lawrence says true. We have less use for public discourse than senators did in the Roman Republic. Player says exactly. The doctors of the church weren't trying to persuade politicians, but to move the mind toward Christian truth. Still, the principles remain the same. Invent your arguments, then arrange, style, and internalize them before delivering them to your audience. Lawrence says splendid, though I suppose an artist has little use for rhetoric, especially in a place such as this. Player says not true. Rhetoric is also an art. And like other forms of art, it should be created for the audience and its purpose. It can be practiced as easily in the streets of a rural town as in the Curia of Rome.
Though outshone by its northern neighbor Florence, Rome is still the seat of power for the Catholic Church and an impressive center for the arts. I'm really distracted by that rabbit with the axe. Oh my god, his biceps are so big. This little rabbit.
Lawrence says well put. And your other studies? Was there anything
oh my god,
else
can I
you
pick
excelled
occultism? Occultist?
Option 1 of 4 Latinist Option 3 of 4 Occultist Andreas knows a player says I used my access to the university's library to pursue more esoteric interests.
Yeah.
Lawrence says oh. Esoteric how? Player says mystical texts. Books on alchemy, invoking spirits, divination, purely academic, of course. Lawrence says of course.
Why is it blue?
Player says I started with Ficino's Corpus Hermeticum and my interest only deepened from there.
Corpus Hermeticum, a compilation of 17 religious and philosophical treatises encompassing the soteriology of Hermes Trismegistus, or thrice great Hermes. The centuries-old texts reflect Egyptian, Greek, and Jewish traditions and ideas, and were translated into Latin into the late 15th century by Marsilio Ficino and Lodovico Lazzarelli.
Lawrence says quite interesting, Andreas. I'll make some time to speak with you more on this topic during my stay.
He likes that we're a little bit freaky.
Option 3 of 3. Option 1 of 3. I look forward to it, my lord. Option 2 of 3. As you wish, my lord. Option 3 of 3. Please be discreet about it, my lord.
My lord.
Option 1 of 3. I look. Lawrence says there's the abbey. I have good memories of this place, and of Father Matthias. I was sad to hear of his passing.
Man, a lot of people seem to really like
Player says how
Father
did you come
Matthias.
to know him? How did you come to know of Kearsarge at all? Lawrence says my family have been patrons of Kearsarge for, I don't know how many generations.
I feel like we should pick him up as a patron, so that we can become a master without having to marry someone. I think that would be pretty cool.
Some years ago I heard that Kearsarge still had a wonderful library and artisans. Professional artists have taken over most manuscript production, so I was shocked to find an active scriptorium here. Option 3, option 2 of option 1 of 3. Well, there's not much left of it these days. 2 old men, a young scribe, and me. Option 2 of 3. This is as good a place as any to create art. Option 3 of 3. The artists that remain here are quite talented, if a bit old-fashioned. Option 2 of 3. Lawrence says certainly, though I'm sure you miss the comforts of Nuremberg when you're stuck in a drafty old abbey like this. Option 2 of 2. Option 1 of 2. I'll get back there soon enough. I'm in no rush. Option 2 of 2. I do, but the abbot is paying good money, good enough to put up with a bit of discomfort.
Yeah. Okay, so that's why I thought the abbot is paying him. Maybe we should say this, then plant the seed for this guy to be like, oh, you need money? Well, I could pay you twice as much, and you could be very comfortable. Yeah, let's do that.
Lawrence says that's good for me since I still appreciate the abbey's work.
Okay, never mind.
I commissioned a manuscript through Father Gernot a year ago. I thought I would stop by and check on the progress. Wait, are you the artist working on it? It's a prayer book with 20 illustrations. Player says I know the work, but no. I do know the artist well, the venerable brother Pierrot.
He looks like a turtle. Just with the coat, or with the cloak.
Lawrence says how venerable. Player says he still has his wits and his skills, if that's what concerns you. Brother Pierrot has an incredible talent with color. Lawrence says then I very much look forward to seeing it. Lawrence says my claws, tend to the horses and the baggage. I'm heading up to the abbey.
My class doesn't seem that happy.
My claw says yes, my lord. Lawrence says well, let's not keep the abbot waiting any longer.
Nuns. Ladies. Nuns. Oh. Nuns.
Quite unusual for a Benedictine house to have monks and nuns, even if they are separated.
Is it? I have no idea. Founded in the 6th century, the Benedictines are a Christian monastic order that observes vows of obedience, poverty, chastity, and stability under the rule of Saint Benedict of Nursia. Interesting. Wait, are they not? Is he saying it's unusual of them to have monks and nuns? So they don't usually have them?
The church closed most of them centuries ago.
I'm like the person that asks questions during a movie.
Warsaw is a place out of time in more ways than one.
Like ask what's gonna happen next, even though the other person knows as much about the movie as they do. I hate that. I'm being that person right now.
Option 1 of 3. Do you know Mother Cecilia? She seemed to recognize you. Option 2 of 3. Why were they closed? Option 3 of 3. Say nothing. Option 1 of 3. Do you? Lawrence says we are acquainted. Yes. Let's leave it at that.
Oh? He's not telling us a lot.
You must be Father Gernot. I am Lawrence, Baron of. Gernot says yes, the Baron of Rothvogel. So wonderful to have you here again. We actually did meet on your last visit. Lawrence says if you say so. I am not good with remembering faces. Gernot says please forgive me, my lord, but I wasn't expecting you for another few days. Lawrence says yes, I know, but I wrote ahead. I just couldn't wait to see my manuscript. I'm sure it's no trouble. Gernot says yes. I mean, no. It's no trouble. Did you want to see it now? Lawrence says in a moment. I could do with a bit of refreshment, though. May I grab something from the kitchen? Gernot says. Yes. Certainly, my lord. I will meet you there. Andreas. I don't know what you were doing with the Baron, but I need you in the scriptorium, now. Option 1 of 3, of course, Father. I'm eager to get to work. Option 2 of 3. Why are you taking this out on me? He's not my problem. Option 3 of 3. Is this a bad time to ask for an advance on my payment for the Book of Hours?
Oh, is that what he's working on? A type of illuminated manuscript that contains an abbreviated form of the prayers for the divine office, in addition to other religious texts. Most are relatively plain, but wealthy patrons often commission lavish examples with elaborate illustrations. Oh, and that family, they're behind on their taxes. Oh, we need to ask this. Maybe. Yeah, let's ask it.
Gernot says.
Oh. Okay, never mind.
Says I should ask again when he's in a better mood. Maybe I could just convince Brother Matthew to pay me early. Click Map tab to access map.
I was clicking on the name.
Lower Abbey. Church.
Cool. Oh.
Maps.
Oh my god, this place is so big. What the fuck? That's really cool though. It really feels like it's its own city. Also, I forgot to mention it earlier, but
Monastery
I love
Loquarium.
Oh, I forgot to mention it earlier, but I love
Rudger, Cloister, Rudger.
Agnus redemit oves, Christus innocens patris.
wow. That's beautiful.
Cloister.
Mos ad vita duello, conflixere mirando, dux vitem
See?
mortu.
That one song set the scene, or the atmosphere so well. Anyway, I was saying that I love settings like this where it's church, where it feels like it's like a beautiful setting. There's that intersection of old and new religion, and it just feels like a place stuck in time. and like insulated. I love that. Really good setting for horror. I know this
Player
is not
says the
necessarily
foundations of the abbey were built when the Romans occupied this land, not long after the death of Christ. These tomb markers go back centuries, all the way to the founding of the abbey. Abbot Dietrich, from the height of Kearsarge's power in the 14th century. Those days have long passed. Investigate, investigate. Player says a lovely relief of the Virgin and Child. Shame it's hidden down here.
The key. Oh. Key.
That was it.
What was it?
Now what?
Good question.
Library.
Oh my god. Oh my god, go
Player
there.
says hey. A secret entrance to the library. I'll have to remember this.
Go up there.
Hey. A
Oh my
secret
god, we can't go
entrance
up there?
to the library.
I guess not till later.
I'll have to remember this.
Okay. We'll remember it.
Church. Tower.
I love the transitions. Oh, I can't do anything. Oh, that setting, it's so pretty. Oh my god.
Church.
I don't know if I'd be become a nun to live here, but
Dormitory.
cool.
Cloister. Church. Old Bailey. Church.
Explore everything in here first.
Old Bailey.
Oh, wow. Wait, let me talk to this guy first.
Sacristy.
Oh,
Old
this
Bailey.
place is so
Matthew.
big.
Matthew says God bless you, Andreas.
That guy is so cute. He's so little.
Player says how is the sacristy today, Matthew? Matthew says the same as yesterday. Does my vocation seem silly to you, Master Mailer? Option 1 of 2 no, I was just being friendly. Option 2 of 2 a little. Option 1 of 2 no, Matthew says then go in peace, friend, knowing that the abbey's treasures are secure for another day.
So, I'm guessing the sacristy is where they store the treasures, and then that's where, right, he's guarding it?
God be with you. Option 1 of 2 one more thing. I have a favor to ask you.
Oh, yeah.
Option 2 of 2 until later. Option 1, Matthew says yes, Andreas. Option 1 of 3, I was hoping you could give me my pay for the latest manuscript early. Option 2 of 3, I'd like to collect my wages. Option 3 of 3, give me my pay.
Give me my money.
Option 1 of 3, Matthew says this isn't part of the agreement you made with Father Gernot. You will be paid on the completion of each additional manuscript you illuminate, not before. Option 1 of 2, I only have a few pages left, Brother Matthew. I'll finish them in the next few days anyway. Option 2 of 2, can't you make an exception this once? Option 1 of 2, I only have a few pages left, Brother Matthew.
I think this is more
I'll finish them in the next few days anyway. Matthew says then I think you can wait a few days to collect your wages. This abbey runs through mutual agreements, not haphazard payments. Breaking such contracts would cause undue trouble not only for Kearsarge, but for Tassing as well.
Really? For the entire town? Just because, like, I asked to be paid a little early.
Option 1 of 3, the matter is pressing, Brother Matthew. For the love of another Christian, I beg you to make an exception. Option 2 of 3 is that why Father Abbot has increased the taxes on the Gürtners? Option 3 of 3, I understand. I won't press you further. Option 1 of 3, the matter is, Matthew says, very well.
Yay!
Do not
I
ask
picked the right
this of
option.
me again,
The right
Andreas
trait.
Mailer.
See? Orator.
Matthew says
Persuasion.
here you are. I shall note this with Father Gernot and Prior Ferenc. Player says thank you, Brother Matthew. Matthew says God bless you, Andreas.
Thank you.
Sacristy. Player says all right, Now that I've got my payment, I can give Clara the rent early.
Yay! Okay.
Option 1 of 2, I'll give it to her directly to make sure she receives it. Option 2 of 2, I'll put it on the table in the evening to surprise them.
No, give it to her
Option 1 of
directly.
2, I'll give it to her directly to make sure she receives it.
Be careful. Like, just
Old Bailey.
better be.
Old Bailey.
Better to be safe. That's a word. Okay. Dormitory, we saw that.
Scriptorium. Scriptorium. Church.
Let's go there.
Scriptorium. Piero. Guy. Piero.
Can I? Hold on.
Options. Language. Full script. Resolution. 1910. Resolution. 1920x1080. Resolution. Options.
Yay, okay.
Piero says Andreas. God bless you. So good to see you. Player says good morning, brother Piero. Good to see you as well. Edoc says I don't like this weather. My bones ache. It means a storm is coming.
Okay, boomer.
Player says Big Jörg Gertner says that if you live here 10 or 15 years, you can smell storms coming. Guy says brother Edoc has been here long enough that we can always smell him coming.
Oh my god. You're gonna let him talk to him like that, dog? You just said that you smell. Ugh.
Edoc says do not forget, brother Guy, the fate of the youths who jeered the aged prophet Elisha outside of Bethel.
Yeah.
Guy says are you comparing yourself to a prophet, brother Edoc? Edoc says I am comparing you to an impudent youth whom the Lord, in his ineffable wisdom, may choose to strike down.
Oh my god. Did he just threaten to maybe the Lord potentially striking him down for saying he smells? That's a little bit of a overreaction. But I love the banter. I love the repartee.
Option 1 of 3 brother Guy. Please show more respect to brother Edoc. You're being mean-spirited. Option 2 of 3 calm yourself, brother Edoc. You're too sensitive to Guy's jokes. Option 3 of 3 say nothing.
Both are true. I mean, he didn't have to say that the guy smells, but
please show more respect.
he also
Option
didn't have
2 of 3
to
calm yourself,
say that he hopes he
Edoc.
dies.
You're too sensitive to Guy's jokes.
I don't know.
Option
say
3 of
nothing.
3 say nothing.
Yeah.
Player says well, everyone seems quite lively. I suppose that means Prior Ferenc is not overseeing us today. Guy says he was here, but then he heard Lorenz Rothvogel had arrived and he hurried out like a little mouse.
Oh, I remember what he looks like. I know
Ferenc
him.
is so desperate to impress the abbot and nobles like Rothvogel. It's pathetic. Edoc says you feign kindness to Father Abbot and our prior only to speak about them like this behind their backs. It's shameful. Piero says oh no. Baron Rothvogel.
Oh no.
His manuscript. I just realized that he will want to see his manuscript. How silly of me.
Did you procrastinate?
Of course that's why he is visiting.
Piero?
Guy says perhaps if you were younger and faster you wouldn't need to worry so much about patrons' visits.
Guy, you can cool it a little bit too.
Option 1 of 3 what's the problem? The Baron is just one client. He has to wait like anyone else. Option 2 of 3 Guy. Someday you will stand where Piero is and a young monk will stand where you are now.
Yeah, Guy. Like you've never procrastinated before or forgotten that you had to do something.
Option 3 of 3 the true craftsman cares more about quality
Yeah.
than simply being fast.
Yeah. Quality over quantity.
Guy says with skill comes speed. Sadly, it may elude you forever.
Fuck you, Guy. Excuse you, I'm about to become a master.
Option 1 of 2 I would rather take my time than compromise quality. Option 2 of 2 if all I had to do was write letters I suppose I'd be fast.
Oh my
2.
god. That is savage. Do we clap back, as the kids say, or do
Option 1 of 2. I would rather take my time
Are we
than
a little bit more
compromise
civil?
quality.
I don't know. He said, "You know
Option
what?
2
Fuck
of 2.
you, guy."
Guy says humph.
Yeah.
Player says anyway. What's the problem? The Baron is just one client. He has to wait like anyone else. Edoc says Andreas. Baron Rothvogel is not like anyone else. He has powerful friends, including the Prince Bishop of Freising.
Religious and secular ruler of scattered territories in the Holy Roman Empire, including the lands containing Tassing and Kearsarge Abbey.
Kearsarge is already out of favor. Father Abbot does not want to have to deal with more attention. Player says, well, if Prior Ferenc isn't here, I'm going to work on my masterpiece until he arrives. Oh, that's right. I need to reference the Indermore manuscript.
From the family of the Swiss Confederacy and Austria. Okay.
Zedinus says, what do you want, Andreas? Player says, a book. The Indermore manuscript, the Book of Hours. Zedinus says, your hair looks messy today. Did you get enough sleep? Option 1 of 2, could I just get the book? Option 2 of 2, what do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean?
Zedinus says, I mean, did you sleep alone? Or?
Why do you want to know? You jealous?
Option 2 of 2, why do you want to know? Option 1 of 2, could I just get the book?
Yeah, what do you
Option
want to
2
know?
of Zedinus says, it would be nice to have something to think about during divine reading.
Oh my god! Zedina. Lectio Divina is the thoughtful reading of and meditation on scripture. The practice leads to prayer and contemplation. It is a daily part of life in Benedictine communities. Oh my god! Zedina is a perv.
Option 2 of 2, have you
Have you
considered the
considered
Lord?
the Lord?
Option 1 of 2, could I just get the book? Option 2 of 2, have you considered the Lord? Zedinus says, you really are a cloud on a sunny day.
No!
Andreas.
I would say that as a joke. Come on, Andreas.
Player says, could I just get the book?
Just.
Zedinus says, ugh. That's all that way upstairs. Can't you get by without it? Option 1 of 2, I'm sorry, but I really can't. I need to reference it for my work. Option 2 of 2, no. Why are you complaining? Isn't this your job?
Nah.
Option 1 of 2, I'm sorry,
Don't be a dick.
but I really can't.
Just because
I
it's
need to
her job
reference
doesn't
it for
mean
my
it's to make
work.
it harder.
Zedinus says, really? My feet hurt and the stairs are so steep. I'm just going to ask Illuminata to get it.
Illuminati. That is such a cool name. Like on its own. Yeah.
Sister Illuminata. Andreas needs a book and he's being inappropriate with me.
What? Okay. Zedina. That's too much right now. You're the one trying to, not thinking of the Lord and trying to think of other nasty things.
Illuminata
Perv.
says Andreas. Option 1 of 2, Sister Illuminata.
I wasn't being
I'd like to borrow the Indermore manuscript, the Book of Hours. Option 2 of 2, I wasn't being inappropriate with her.
Oh my god, this is so funny. I know this is the
Option
more
1
efficient
of 2, Sister
option, but
Option Illuminata says, I didn't think that you were.
thank you, Illuminata.
Sister Zedina has a poor attitude toward her vocation, the rule, and, I suppose, the 10 Commandments.
She just seems like, you know, a little bit more carefree. Nothing wrong with that. The Rule of Saint Benedict of Nursia is a book of instructions for monks living together under the guidance of an abbot. Written in the 6th century, the rule provides the principles for living a monastic life.
Option 1 of 3, if this is not her vocation, She should not be here. Option 2 of 3, you expect too much from a young woman who's been locked up in an abbey. Option 3 of 3, I imagine it takes some longer than others to accept their new lives here.
Yeah, this is a more diplomatic answer.
Player says she may yet come around. Illuminata says that's charitable of you, but perhaps you are right.
Yeah.
I should not have been so quick to judge her.
Yeah.
In any case, I overheard you requesting the Endermore manuscript. Here. Please return it promptly.
Promptly.
Pierrot says, Andreas, may I see how your masterpiece is coming? Player says, of course. Your opinion is always welcome. Pierrot says, yes, the composition is lovely.
I love the blue and the
There is
yellow
a joyful
against each
spirit
other
in
like
your
that.
arrangement of the figures. The contrast of colors is also quite nice.
It really is.
Rich and beautiful on their own, but not overpowering the scene.
Exactly. I love that yellow. And like I would think it would clash with that blue because they're both bright, but it looks really good. I also love like these little embellishments.
Option 1 of 2. Is that all? Option 2 of 2, it doesn't feel right. I don't know why. Pierrot says it's an excellent interpretation of someone else's work.
Oh.
Option
Brutal.
1 of 2, what do you mean? It's all my work. Option 2 of 2, that's what clients want. Option 1 of 2, what do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean?
It Pierrot says, my son, you're copying the illustration from the Endermore manuscript almost exactly.
Yeah, that's not good. You wanna be original. That's kind of how I feel seeing some artwork. It just feels like it's like technically fantastic, but not much beyond that. But the technical prowess is really, really impressive. But I feel like that's what he's trying to say.
Player says so. What's wrong with that? Haven't I improved on it?
Mm.
Pierrot says aesthetically, yes. It's wonderful. But I feel you have not given much thought to what it represents. Player says it's November. In November we show peasants leading the pigs into the forest to forage on acorns before the slaughter.
Oh. All those poor piggies.
Pierrot says, Andreas, the peasants here are no longer allowed to forage acorns in the forest. Many great lords and abbots across the empire have forbidden it, even Father Gernot.
Yeah, if it's not relevant. Oh.
Player says, what difference does it make? This is the way November is painted.
Oh my god. Andreas. That's not the point.
Pierrot says, but it is not the way November is.
Exactly.
Pierrot says art is illusion, storytelling, but in their most sublime form, these images illuminate a path to truth.
Yeah, I like Piero. He says it like he is, or like it is.
Option 1 of 2, it's most important to me that my clients are happy. They won't pay me for truth. Option 2 of 2, the technique is all that matters to me, perfecting the craft. Can't that be enough?
I don't agree with that, but I do like having that unique dialogue option. But no, that's not enough, Andres. Sorry.
Pierrot says only you can answer that, Andreas. There was a time that I marveled at my own technique, but there is a reason we monks do not usually identify ourselves in our work. It foments pride, vanity. With time I learned to take simple satisfaction in helping to spread truth to others.
What an enlightened dude.
But you need not listen to my opinions. They are just the thoughts of one old monk.
They're good thoughts, though.
There is no place for the monastic scriptoria anymore. In truth, this room is a place out of time.
No, but it's so cool.
Option 1 of 2, does that make you sad? Option 2 of 2, why is that? Why has Kearsaw kept this up for so long?
Yeah, why has it? If it's basically like a dead thing.
Pierrot says some people, some places, have a difficult time letting go of the past. I am not among them. The creation of books, of art, is no longer the province of monasteries. So be it. More people will be able to write, more will be able to read and, in so doing, be brought to truth.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Option 1 of 2. Don't you think there's a danger in anyone being able to write, anyone being able to read, anything?
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's a debate with... I think that's why people kind of ironically, unironically say, like, the internet should have
Option
never
1
been
of 2.
invented,
Don't you
but...
think there's a danger in anyone
That's
being able
why-
to write, anyone being able to read, anything?
No. I think being more educated in general is the best thing. You just have to think critically.
Option 2 of 2. I think there will always be a place for artists like you and Brother Edok.
Yeah.
Guy says. Option 1 of 2, and Brother Guy.
Dude, Brother Guy and who's that guy earlier? Martin? They're little shits. They can't catch a break, but they also don't deserve you.
Option 1 of 2. Hero says it's kind of you to say so, Andreas, but you need not be concerned for me. I have lived a long life and am happy to have served the Lord. When he calls for me, I am ready.
Oh, that's nice. I'm glad he feels at peace with that. Sext! I know, I'm being 12. I know it's not actually sext. Looks like there's bird poop on their robes. Like, I know it's
Has the
probably
time
pink,
gone?
but
It is already terse.
monastic hour corresponding to 9 a.m., one of the little hours of prayer terse precedes mass in the chapter meeting. It's only the morning, so I thought it was like lunchtime. Stop. Go. Oh my god, wait. Actually. Look at those two kids. That's what I want for my life. I want to be that fat white cat just rolling up next to my significant other cat.
Too much talk. I must ask forgiveness for not honoring the rule. Until later, Andreas.
Later.
Player says until later.
Who? What? Are you up to some shit? What was that thing he was holding?
Illuminata says what's going on in here? Illuminata. Illuminata says Andreas, what was that noise? Player says oh. I'm sorry, Sister Illuminata. I knocked a bowl of paint to the floor, but then Prior Ferenc came in, wrote in one of his books, slammed it closed, and left. He was in such a hurry I don't think he even noticed me.
What was he doing?
Illuminata says he was slamming books shut. Prior
That's some
Ferenc should know better than
shady
that.
shit. I think we should go check it out.
Some of these manuscripts are quite delicate.
Yeah.
Option 1 of 2 nod. Option 2 of 2 he seemed to be in a great hurry. Illuminata says I think he is on edge since Baron Rothvogel arrived early.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why books should not be taken out of the library unless it is necessary for divine reading or work in the scriptorium. Option 1 of 2. Are you still mad at me for borrowing the Chronica Clara? Option 2 of 2. Oh, that reminds me, there are a few more books I've been wanting to borrow. Option 1 of 2. Are you still mad at me for Option 2 of 2? Oh, that reminds me, there are a few more books I've been wanting to borrow.
The Cleric Chronicle, a history of the universe from creation to 1082, written by the Irish monk Mariana Scotus.
Option 1 of 2. Are you still mad at
yeah.
Illuminata says no. Anger is not an appropriate response for a nun.
I think it is. I think you should embrace rage and just let loose. Go apeshit, if you will.
But the fact remains that you tricked me into giving you that book for no valid reason. Option 1 of 2 not valid? Is it not valid to want to see the work of one of the great Irish scribes? Option 2 of 2 you sound angry. Option player says one who wrote masterworks that even now grace libraries at Cologne, Fulda, and Mainz.
Cologne, large, powerful, free imperial city on the River Rhine. It is a major hub of commerce between Italy and the Netherlands. It is also a popular site for the pilgrims, as its cathedral contains relics of the 3 wise men represented as crowns on their arms. That's kind of cool. I mean, I don't believe the relics, any relics are what people believe or what is said about them, but if they're old, they're still cool. I just like historical artifacts. Mainz, located on the Rhine River, Mainz is the home of the Archbishop of Mainz and Elector of the Holy Roman Empire and Primus Germania, the Pope's substitute north of the Alps. Fulda, town built around an old Benedictine abbey near the center of the empire. Fulda's abbots are imperial princes and wield great power. I don't know, church and state mixing together like that? I'm being silly. I know that's how it was back then. It probably was fascinating.
Illuminata says no, it's not. Not unless it pertains to your work or the abbot permits it. Now, if you'll excuse me, player says wait, what's all this fuss about Lorenz Rothvogel? Why is Prior Ferenc so nervous?
Yeah, is it just because he's a noble or something else? Because there was that other sister that, or like the nuns that ran into the gate as soon as they saw him, and then that other lady, Otilia, I think, who like cursed them out and heckling them.
Illuminata says Lorenz? I didn't know you were familiar enough with the man to use his Christian name.
We're boyfriends now. He's interested in my education.
Anyway, I haven't dealt with him, personally, but the prior and Father Abbot have. I only know that he's purchased a number of our most valuable manuscripts over the years.
I wonder why. Because he didn't strike me as like very pious, but he was familiar with Martin Luther, and he keeps buying these religious manuscripts, so I'm wondering why. You know, like, maybe he is religious. I'm not sure.
And he paid enough to help the Abbey when we needed it.
Or maybe he just is religious if he's paying the Abbey.
Player says like what? What did he buy? Illuminata says him. I can't remember. You know, I have my own responsibilities to attend to. How about this, Andreas? If you help me recover some missing books, I'll tell you what I know about the Baron. Option 1 of 2, of course. I'll help in any way I can. Option 2 of 2 well. I was hoping to work on my masterpiece, but I suppose I can help. Option 1 of 2, of course. I'll help in any way I can.
Just say that.
Illuminata says thank you. It's for the good of the Abbey. Player says where should I begin? Illuminata says out there, where you and your cohort have carelessly strewn books around the scriptorium. I will tell you what books I'm looking for. Find them and return them to me. The first books are 2 volumes of the Aeneid.
Aeneas, a poetic epic retelling, or telling the legend of Aeneas, a heroic Trojan who struggles to reconcile his personal desires with his destiny to found Rome. It was written in the 1st century BC by the Roman poet Virgil.
Reddish covers. 14 inches by 10 inches.
It's very specific.
3 inches thick. Option 1 of 2 Innsbruck inches or Nuremberg inches.
You're just introducing even more unfamiliar things.
Option 2 of 2 O.
Okay.
I know the one.
Yes, that's better.
They're among Piero's favorites. He keeps them by my desk. Illuminata says they are not his to keep. Player says there's a fair amount of wear on these. I hope you don't mind. Illuminata says those volumes were old even when Pierrot started to make the copies. Player says how long ago was that? Illuminata says 3 years. The Aeneid is not one of my favorite stories. but I understand why it appeals to Pierrot.
Oh, cute. Love that.
Illuminata says Aeneas chose his duty to the gods over his lover, Dido. Player says, do you think Aeneas' sense of duty appeals to Pierrot?
Probably. He's in a abbey, and he's a monk.
Illuminata says we all have our vocations. Brother Pierrot takes his more seriously than most of the others in this abbey. Player says you clearly take your chosen vocation seriously.
She seems very wise.
Illuminata says Andreas, I didn't have a choice in my vocation.
Oh.
Few women do.
Very true.
Option 1 of 2, well, surely it's not that dire.
Don't say that.
Option 2 of 2, you're right, of course. Player says, is it really that bad?
My guy, it's the 1500s. And you're in a boat looking at a woman burning out of fire.
Option 1 of 2, she's exaggerating.
Shut up,
It's
my
fine.
dude. This little fucking guy, he needs to fuck off.
Option 2 of 2, how would you know?
Yeah, how the fuck would you know?
Player
How would
says
either of you
true.
know?
She knows her life better than I do. Option 2 of 2, you're right, of course.
Yeah.
Illuminata says I appreciate that you understand how limited our roles and our choices truly are. Even in stories, we are maidens to be rescued and wed, cruel seducers of men, or wizened crones.
Mm-hmm.
Like Dido, we ordinary women are merely tools in the tales of men.
Mm-hmm.
We can never be the protagonists of our own stories. No woman is exempt from that, from the empress to a nun. It is our lot. Player says I suppose I understand now why you are not fond of the Aeneid. Illuminata says it's fine poetry. For men.
Yeah.
Now, the books, if you please. Illuminata.
Yeah, I mean, like, imagine some of the media, even now, like how, just, like, very shallow in terms of depicting women, and you can really tell when it's written by a man, but, like, imagine what it would have been like in, like, the 1500s.
Illuminata says thank you. Next, Wretched Garin. This is a printed copy. Green cover, diamond pattern.
An Italian chivalric romance written by Andrea da Barberino in the early 15th century. The titular character rises from impoverished origins to go on heroic adventures and discover his noble parentage. Originally published as a manuscript, it enjoyed greater success as a printed book. That sounds cool. Sounds like Harry Potter and a lot of other young adult novels, like Chosen One novels and stuff.
I do not have the size in the ledger, but hopefully the description is enough.
No, I need to know the width,
Player
otherwise I
says
will
I
be
know
lost.
the one you're talking about. Brother Edok was reading it.
Brother Edok, so
Player says the beauty of this book truly belies its ridiculous content. I'm surprised the Abbey owns a copy. Illuminata says we don't. It belongs to Amadea Rusco of Lugano. It's a Venetian edition that's quite valuable.
Lugano, highly contested Swiss market town located in the southwestern Alps. The Dukes of Como and Milan fought for control over it until it was claimed by the Swiss Confederation in 1513.
He loaned it to us 5 years ago. It was subsequently lost and the abbot has received 3 letters about it. Player says I've certainly seen the brothers enjoying it. Illuminata says that book is not appropriate reading for Benedictine monks. Illuminata says a baby is sold to pirates, raised a servant, then lives a life of adventure wooing princesses and fighting in tournaments.
That sounds badass though.
Player says you forgot the best part. In the end, Garin learns he has royal blood, the son of a duke. He reigns as a king and dies a pious hermit. What's not to love? Illuminata says Benedictines should be dreaming of reconciliation with our Lord,
okay.
not lusty adventures.
Lusty adventures. Oh my goodness.
Option 1 of 2. What's the harm? Option 2 of 2. I suppose you're right. It's better suited for knaves like me.
Names like me. I like that answer.
Illuminata says it's not my place to reprimand anyone for reading stories, least of all, you, Andreas. Still, we must be on guard. Fantasy leads to temptation. Temptation has led to the downfall of many men and women.
I don't know about that. It's like the whole blaming video games for people's actions. I don't think it's that dire.
Player says sometimes, yes. But books like this, it's all the same type of fantasy, isn't it? Illuminata says to die better than we are born.
Exactly.
Player says, and what's the problem with that? Why shouldn't a peasant dream of being a king?
Yeah.
Illuminata says there is neither Jew nor Greek, neither slave nor free, neither male nor female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus.
Alright. Okay.
Player says we may be one in Christ,
Exactly.
but we are not
Thank
equal
you,
in
Andreas.
this world. Illuminata says it isn't this world you should be concerned with, Andreas. But, the book, Andreas. We must return it. Or would you like the abbot to receive a fourth letter?
Oh, God forbid abbot receives another letter.
Player says I hate to see the brothers disappointed, but I understand. Illuminata says it's not my goal to deprive the brothers of their joy, but to return Amadea Rusco's property. The book, please.
Wait, isn't it? Oh, I still have it.
Illuminata. Illuminata says there is only one book left. Then you will be freed from bondage.
We're talking a slightly bit kinky. Illuminata.
A dark red cover. 8 inches high, 5 inches
How
across,
does she know this by
2
like off
inches
the top
thick.
of her head?
Option 2 of 2. Option 1 of 2. What is it? Option 2 of 2. I remember that. I believe Brother Guy was reading it.
So be over here. Yeah.
Player says now that I think about it, Guy has always been guarded about this book, like he was hiding it.
Is it prawn?
Illuminata says very good. Please bring it here. Player says what is this, anyway? It's in French.
Oh.
The soul that God touched, empty of sin in the first state of grace. Option 1 of 2. Bastard script. Elegant descenders. Option 2 of 2. What is this?
What is
Option
it?
1 of
What?
2. Bastard script. Elegant descenders.
What does that mean? Elegant descenders. Is it because it's a copy of an original script? Or...
Player says what is this?
Well, I didn't mean to click on that.
Illuminata says why are you asking so many questions? Just give it to me. Player says why won't you tell me what this book is?
Yeah,
Illuminata
my secrets.
says because it's a dangerous book. Andreas Mailer.
Why is
One
it
the
dangerous?
previous abbot tolerated in spite of a papal order to destroy it. 3 French bishops condemned the book.
Oh my
All
god.
copies were to be burned.
What's so bad?
Its author shared the same fate.
Oh my god. He was burned?
Player says what? Why? Illuminata says I don't know, Andreas. It isn't my place to question the judgment of one bishop, much less 3.
It should be everyone's place.
And before you ask, no, I haven't read it, but I know it contains a dialogue between love and reason.
That doesn't sound that bad.
Player says so the book is dangerous. When did the bishops condemn it? Illuminata says 200 years ago. Player says what? Why? Why is it still here? Illuminata says because Father Matthias loved books. All books. He didn't want to see it destroyed.
Huh. Yeah, the more I read about Father Matthias, the more I like him.
Option 1 of 3 sounds reckless. Option 2 of 3, and he was right to do so. Books shouldn't be destroyed, even if their content is in question.
Yeah.
Option 3 of 3, I can sympathize with him. Illuminata says the Holy Church does not share your opinion. It is their law we must contend with, not your emotions. Option 1 of 2, the Church was wrong.
Let's not say that.
Option
She
2
will
of
be
2,
really
keeping
mad if we say
silently.
that, I think.
Illuminata says it's not my place to question the former abbot's decision, but when Father Gernot learned it was in our possession, he wanted it destroyed. Option 1 of 3, must the book be destroyed? No one even knows that it's here.
Yeah.
Option 2 of 3, well, I refuse to give it to you if all you're going to do is destroy it. Option 3 of 3, fine. Here, take it.
Yeah.
Option
why
1
does it
of
need
3,
to be
must the book
destroyed?
be Illuminata says I do.
Besides,
So do Mother Cecilia
order
and Father
against it.
Gernot.
and I guess Guy knows too, if he was reading it.
Option 1 of 2, well, I refuse to give it to you if all you're going to do is destroy it. Option 2 of 2, fine. Here, take it. Option 1 of 2,
No,
well,
I wanna read it.
I
What is
refuse to
it?
give. Illuminata says what? Why not? What are you going to do with it? Option 1 of 2, I'm not sure. I'll hide it. Keep it safe. Option 2 of 2, read it and become a French heretic.
She's not gonna find that funny.
Option 1 of 2, I'm not sure. Illuminata says give me that book or our deal is forfeit. I won't tell you anything about Baron Rothvogel.
Do you even know that much about him? If you can't even talk to men?
Option 1 of 4, consider the sound theological reasons for allowing this book to exist. Option 2 of 4, I appeal to your duty as the librarian of this abbey not to destroy this book. Option 3 of 4, I propose a compromise. I will take the book from the abbey, far away. Option 4 of 4, fine. Take it.
I don't think the first two are really gonna persuade her because 3 bishops already ordered it destroyed. She's gonna listen to the bishops. And as librarian, I don't know why she would be particularly moved by it. She already said that the opinions of the church are worth more than our personal feelings about it.
Option 3 of 4, I
So-
propose a compromise.
We can try this.
I will take the book from the abbey. Player says I'll be gone by the time Father Gernot asks about it, and if you like, you can say I stole it.
Yeah.
I doubt he'll make a fuss about me stealing a book he wanted destroyed. Illuminata says I don't like this, Andreas.
But you're open to it.
It feels
You didn't
wrong
say
in my
no.
heart. Player says I swear I'll take it far
Yes.
away. It's been out here for years.
Oh my god, yes. Oh my
And
god,
besides,
we picked the right
how could you have stopped
background.
me?
See? Persuasion.
Illuminata says I'm trusting you in this,
Okay.
Andreas, against my better judgment. Don't make me regret this.
Yay.
Illuminata. Illuminata says now then.
Yes.
Baron Rothvogel. Quickly, though. I need to finish up here soon. Option 1 of 4, you said that he buys books from the abbey. What kinds?
We already know that though. He likes to buy manuscripts.
Option 2 of 4, how long has he been visiting the abbey?
We know that too. He knew the last guy, Matthew.
Option 3 of 4, he seemed unusually friendly with me. I don't understand it, honestly.
He likes you.
Option 4 of 4, he mentioned finding a copy of Historia Tasha. He said it had some scandalous details in it. Player says she may only have time to answer one question, so I should choose carefully.
Okay.
Option 3 of 4, option
Well, we
1
knew
of
this
4,
one, we knew
option
this
2
one.
of 4, how, option 3 of 4, he seemed unusually friendly with me. I don't understand it,
This one's
honestly.
juicy.
Illuminata says the Baron is quite wealthy, quite educated, and he loves fine art. I think it's clear why he enjoys your company.
No, he likes us. Personally. carnally, spiritually.
Most of his peers don't share his passion for modern thinking, nor are they as interested in art.
They probably aren't as cute as we are either.
You are a rare thing, Andreas Mahler, an artist with a university education.
Wow.
You may not be of high birth, but whatever the Baron's faults may be, he chooses to fraternize with common people.
That's cool.
Sometimes with unpleasant consequences.
What do you know?
Option 1 of 2, did something happen? Someone in the Abbey? Option 2 of 2, what? Did he get involved with someone in the town? Option 1 of 2,
Ooh,
did
if it's
something
someone in
happen?
the Abbey.
Someone in the Abbey? Illuminata says yes, but I can't say anything more than that. It was a tragic affair. No one at the
You're
Abbey
killing
wanted
me.
to deal with it then, and certainly no one wants to dig up the past now.
Wow, I really want to know what it is. But it must have been big if it reached that one lady that ran into us and started like yelling at him, who wasn't, as far as I know, like working in the Abbey.
Player says, should I be concerned for my safety, sister?
Oh my god.
Illuminata says, I can't say. I don't know Baron Rothvogel much more than you do, but there is an inherent danger to walking in the shadow of a powerful man.
That's a good line.
Just be careful. Well, I must be off to Massachusetts. Thank you again for your help, Andreas.
No, it said Massachusetts. Alright, have a good time in Massachusetts, Illuminata. Yeah. I forgot what's in I was gonna make a joke about what was in Massachusetts, but I don't remember about anything. Do they have lobster? Enjoy some lobster.
Option 1 of 2, I suppose you will be leaving via the crypt. Option 2 of 2, smile devilishly.
What?
Option 1 of 2, I suppose you will be leaving via the crypt.
Oh, do we want to reveal we know what that is? Or like that there is an entrance there?
Option 2 of 2, smile devilishly.
She's gonna be a killjoy, I think.
Illuminata says, what are you smiling about? Option 1 of 3, I suppose you will be leaving via the crypt. Option 2 of 3, I am filled with the joy of books.
Is it green? I am filled with the joy of books.
Option 3 of 3, oh, just a little secret. Option 2 of 3, I am filled with the Illuminata says, you are a strange man.
Yeah.
Good day, Andreas.
I hope that was the
God
right thing to
be with
do.
you.
I just think that she would not be okay with knowing about that entrance. Or like she'd be like, what? And then tell someone that we know about it. Or that we
Player
just
says
heard it.
that's the bell for sext. The brothers will be sitting down for dinner soon.
It's time for sext, guys. Monastic order corresponding to noon, one of the little hours of prayer followed by dinner.
I should see if Otto is around and still wants to eat with me. I think he's working by the guest house below the Abbey.
Okay.
Old Bailey.
Yeah, I wanted to see what was up with this.
Player says him. I wonder what Prior Ferenc was doing with this book.
Yeah.
From the library of the University of Five Churches. The Hungarians call it Pex. That's where Ferenc is from.
I think it's probably pronounced differently than Pex.
Doctor of Theology George of Gran. Option 1 of 2, a friend of his. Option 2 of 2, did Ferenc steal this?
Well, I didn't assume that, but now I am. Or thinking that.
Player says a text on astronomy. It looks like. I'm not familiar with it. Option 1 of 2, sloppy book hand. Couldn't have been produced by an abbey of note. Option 2 of 2, bastard script. Burgundian? Flemish. Not from here and not recently.
I don't know.
Option 2 of 2, bastard
It
script.
seems like he's familiar with
Burgundian?
I don't know.
Flemish.
Flemish.
Not from here and not recently. Player says that's definitely Ferenc's handwriting between the lines and in the margins. Option 1 of 3, is he notating the text for the university in Pex? Option 2 of 3, is he notating the text for his personal use? Option 3 of 3, is he notating the text for the benefit of future readers?
I think it's this one because if it was for personal use, you would have taken it, and if it was for the University of Pex, I still feel like you would have taken it. Maybe you wanted this to be found?
Player says in any case, it's a thorough commentary.
What's it say? What's this?
What's this? It looks scribbled, not like Ferenc to be so sloppy. And he didn't even blot the ink dry.
That's a cool detail.
Libra, Capricorn,
So he was in a
Aries,
rush.
all astrological symbols. What's written below? Maybe I should have learned Greek at some point. I can't make any sense of this.
That's probably where... Well... Wouldn't we have learned Greek as if we picked orator as a background?
I suppose I'll figure it out in due time, but I'll copy this all down to reference later.
Yeah, I feel like...
Old Bailey.
There's something we're missing.
Prior's house. Script Prior's house.
Oh my god, that's what he had.
Player says, what is this? A Volvel? I've seen these before, in astronomy and medical tracks. What? 2 wheels. The top wheel has Greek letters and holes cut out to reveal Latin letters underneath. And the outer edge of the lower wheel is divided into 4 sections, each bearing an elemental symbol.
Yeah. So it's like water, fire, air, and then earth? Is that it?
Greek, Latin, and elemental symbols.
Oh.
It's obvious someone with occult interests fashioned this.
Why would the prior have it?
A quarter turn of the upper disc aligns a different elemental symbol with the top of the lower disc.
Okay.
And that reveals a different set of letters underneath.
Okay.
This must relate to the Greek letters I found in Ferenc's book.
Oh my gosh.
I need to compare them. But these symbols aren't the same.
Okay.
The
Yeah, they're not.
elements don't appear in the cipher and the astrological symbols aren't on the Volvel.
Yeah.
There has to be some connection between them that I'm missing. Option 1 of 2. I found the secret passage in the crypt. There has to be a book in the library I could use to figure this out. Option 2 of 2. If I could find some way into the library, I'm sure there's a book I could use to figure this out.
These basically say the same things.
Option 1 of
Except
2. I
the
found
secret
the
passage.
secret. Player says Sister Illuminata is in there most of the day.
Ooh.
Perhaps I can
So we have
find
to
a
wait
way
for the
in after
nighttime?
dark. And if all else fails, perhaps I could ask Werner Stalls. He lives off of the North Commons.
Okay. Oh, he's handsome. He cute.
I have a sense he doesn't like me much, but
But we are good at persuasion.
I'll find a way to get the information out of him.
Yeah, seduce him. Okay. I might actually end it there. So let's do that. I think that's a good ending point, and then we can go to the crypt and then find those people that we were going to have dinner with, and then also get the money to that family that owes the taxes. But I'm really enjoying it so far. Yeah, I mean, I knew I would. It has murder mystery, even though we haven't touched upon that yet, but there's mystery elements that we're just like, you know, scraping the surface of. The setting is super cool, the time period is cool. You can really tell like the creators did a ton of research, even though I'm not like very well versed in the time or the setting. You can tell because almost every dialogue and exploration gives you context into the setting and the time, which I love. I love it a lot. Well, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna stop it here, and I can't wait to play some more. I really, really like it so far. I think, yeah, it's right up my alley. I can't wait to finish this, and also to play the Return of the Oberdin. Yeah, thank you. This was Sybil, and I'll see you guys later.